Good evening, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Derek again. Just want to start off by saying I hope everybody's well and warm. It's cold all over the United States here. I know we got icicles down in Texas and snow fights in Florida and Baja California. I think they're building snowmen or something. So everybody bundled up, stay safe and warm. That being said, some of the topics that I talk about, I guess, under normal circumstances should make somebody feel uncomfortable talking about. But I experienced so much in my life, and I just got to the point that it's, I don't have anything to hide. I mean, anything I have to offer might help somebody else, somebody else might have been through the same thing and they know they're not alone. And I know I'm not alone. But one time when I was a child, we'll just jump right in. One time when I was a child, 8, 9, maybe younger than that, I had a problem with bedwetting. And the reason that is because I was scared to get up because of my dad. I was afraid to get out of bed. I was afraid he was going to meet me at the door. I didn't know what was going to happen. And somewhere along that line, it became not apparent, but it just got to the point that my dad would just kind of like, no more drinking anything after 7 p.m. And if you don't go to bed till 8 or 9, it's 2 hours plus a whole night of sleep. So sometimes I'd wake up thirsty in the middle of the night. Couldn't go in the kitchen because it was just too loud. The sink and getting the cup out of the dishwasher or out of the cupboard. So I'd go to the bathroom because it was right across the hallway from my room. And we had those little bitty cups, like them little half-shot cups in our bathroom. And so I'd get one of those and turn the water on and get some water. Well, after doing that a couple of times, my dad came into my room one night. He said, "What are you doing?" I was like, nothing. He's like, "Were you getting water in the bathroom?" Yes, sir." "Didn't I tell you no more drinking after 7 o'clock? And I'm just petrified. I'm like, "Yes, sir. I'm sorry." It's like, "I told you, and that's what I meant, so don't do it again." So that's what happened. But it got to the point that, I would be real thirsty at night. So I would get up, and this is where it's kind of humorous, but it's not. I laugh because that's my way of dealing with uncomfortable situations, uncomfortable things. Humor, just humor's the cure-all for me. I mean, I've tried to find humor to help me relax, and sometimes it's inappropriate, but that's what I use. So nonetheless, I go into that bathroom, and one night I'm just dying of thirst. I mean, my mouth was so dry. So I went to the bathroom, peed, flushed the toilet, got one of those little cups, dipped the water out of the toilet bowl, fresh, clean water, drank me a couple of cupfuls, threw my cup in the trash can. Thought, genius. Well, then one time he discovered the cup in there crumpled up. And he's like, "Have you been getting water?" Yes, sir. Because if I lied and he had me, he'd beat shit out of me. I was like, "Yes, sir." "Didn't I tell you?" "Yes, sir, but I was just so thirsty." He said, "I don't care. You're not going to be wet in the bed anymore." That didn't stop me because I didn't want to get up to go to the bathroom very often because he scared me. So it got to the point that when I did dip water out of the toilet to drink, I'd take the cup with me, crumple it up and put it under my pillow or something like that and get rid of it the next day. So that was, pretty pitiful to have to live that way and grow up that way. And there was one time when I remember this very clearly. I was in 3rd grade. And the principal of the school and my dad were really good friends. So one day I'd come to school Night before, I don't remember what happened the night before, but I know I got the shit beat out of me. So the next day I'm at school, and I go to the bathroom, and I don't know about girls when they're little, but I know little boys, you know, when they go to the bathroom, sometimes they pull their pants and underwear down to about their knees, pull the shirt up, tuck it underneath their chin like this, and go pee. Well, I had done that. And another little boy walks in, and he's like, "Oh, whoa, what happened?" And I finish peeing, turn on, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "You're back." And I'm like, "Oh, that's nothing." I pull my pants up and pull my shirt down. Well, about 10 minutes later, 20 minutes later, I couldn't tell you time, in third grade. But the principal came and got me out of my room, my classroom. And he gets me back to his office, and he says, you know, "Turn around and pull your shirt up." I pull my shirt up, and "What happened?" And I just sit there quiet. He said, "I'm going to have to call your dad." I said, "Please don't call my dad." A little more petrified than I am now. But, you know, along those lines, "Please don't call my dad." So he calls him, and then this gentleman, you know, proceeds to laugh a little bit. "Oh, yeah, I understand. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, sure, I'll have him here." About 15, 20 minutes later, my dad worked in the same town that we lived in. So about 15, 20 minutes later, my dad came pick me up, and he said, "What happened?" I told him I was in the bathroom, was peeing, had my shirt up, and my pants was peeing, and the boy seen something, and I got nervous, and the principal brought me in. He asked me what happened. He goes, "What'd you tell him?" I said, "I didn't tell him nothing. I didn't say a word. I just sat there." He's like, "Well, I'm sorry that happened to you, but sometimes you just push me too far." And I just tucked my head down and said, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir." But he had beat me where I had, you know, bruises on my back and my ass and parts of my legs, because, you know, sometimes I just felt like he was a blind ninja and just started swinging. And that's unfortunate. If you know of any of these things happening to someone, say something, because this is no way for a child to live. You know, speak up. Speak up. I'll defend you. Speak up. Because a child, especially a child, should not have to live in fear. There's a difference between a father being mean in the eyes of a child, like, I'm taking your phone away for 2 weeks. Well, you're just mean. Yes, that's mean, because you know what mean is. You know, grounding somebody because they, you know, snuck out. You're grounded for a week. Oh, you're mean. Those types of means are normal. But when it becomes evil, that's not acceptable. And so that's what I mean. If there's an evil, something you're looking at and it makes you want to throw up, or enrages you inside to see or hear something happening, say something. Speak up. I don't want anybody to live or go through the things and live the way I had to live. I never said anything to my mother. I just recently found out through her tears that there was quite a bit of stuff that I've talked about on my YouTube channel that she was totally and completely unaware of. But, you know, I don't blame her. She's not the one who did it. I don't blame her because, you know, she was unaware. My dad was pretty sneaky, pretty good. And then he had a way of rewarding so that there would be less chance of me speaking up. And I look back now, and that's what kept me quiet. And it's sad because I went through a lot, and I dealt with a lot from him. And I will say this, if any of my family's watching this, when my dad finally died, he gave up on life. He was gay. He could never come to terms with being gay. And he gave up on life. And then he just gave up taking his insulin. So he sat on the floor next to his bed and died. I didn't go to his house. The only reason I went to the funeral home with my brother was because it was the right thing to do. Not because it was something I wanted to do, but it was the right thing to do. I paid for the funeral. But I had nothing to say at his visitation. Not a tear was shed by me or anything. And maybe some of the people, especially family who watch this, will now understand. I had no sadness when he left, when he died. No heart broken here. The sad thing was, once again, it's quite humorous. When I told my boys, hey, Papa's dead, they were like, I thought he already died. Because that's how much he didn't have anything to do with them or was not a part of their life. Because he chose alcohol and alcohol. He chose alcohol over the vodka, especially over life. You know, he was gay. Who cares? Who cares? You know, he lived in the time when in the beginning in the 80s, you know, it was taboo and, you know, oh my God, it's hereditary, or you can, oh my God, don't drink after them, you can get it. It was all new and people were just ignorant. People are still ignorant. But he was gay and I loved him. He was my father. I still love him. He was my father. I hate him. But love and honor thy mother and father. And I do, and I did. He never came to terms with it. The 90s, it was a little more relaxed. He had so many friends of his that, you know, my dad could walk into a room full of business people and you'd never ever know he was gay. And he wanted it that way. There were friends of his that I've talked to since his death and they were like, he was gay? I had no idea. That's what he wanted. He didn't want you to know. And they were like, why? I'm like, I don't know. He could just not come to terms with being gay. There's nothing wrong with being whatever you want to be. There's nothing wrong with it. Because the most important thing you have to have, no matter what race, what gender, what you identify as, who you identify with, no matter what, love. Love, love, love. Love yourself. If you can't love yourself, how in the hell can you love somebody else? Love you, love who you are, and once you can go, I really love me, you can learn to love somebody else. But until that, it's not going to happen. And that was my dad's biggest problem. He never loved himself, and he could never come to terms with who he really was. Brilliant man. One of the smartest people I think I've ever met. Next to Nicholas, my youngest son. Nicholas is, nope, don't get me in a Jeopardy match with him. Well, you could, just a spelling match, and I can't win against him. But, you know, those are just some of the things that I went through. My dad hated with a passion to be corrected. Do not correct him. And even more importantly, do not correct him in front of his friends. Oh, death sentence. But every once in a while, me being me, you know, everything is right or happy. Do I want to be right or do I want to be happy? Some days I wanted to be right, even though I was going to get the shit beat out of me. I'd rather be right. And a little bit happy in there too. But I'd rather be right. He was not a man of his word. There were many, many occasions he would promise me something or tell me he was going to do something for me or whatever, and never did. Keep your word. If you can't keep your word, man, let me not use that word. If you can't keep your word, come forward and say, hey, look, you know what? Something's changed. I can't do this anymore because of. But try not to say you're going to do something if you can't. You know, don't tell people something if you're not going to follow through. You know, I used to tell my boys also when they were younger, they'd ask me questions. Well, such and such, such and such. Look, you know what? You're not old enough to understand. Ask me again when you're a little bit older, and I'll explain it to you so that you can comprehend it. Because explaining something to a 6-year-old that a 17-year-old can barely understand doesn't make any sense. So you wait till they're older to explain it to them. And I've done that with my children, with my boys. It was tough, but I survived. I had great times in my life growing up. Had as I've bitched about. You've heard my bad times, but I've had good times. I really have. My mom always tried to make holidays special. Birthdays, Christmas, Thanksgiving. She would always try to make them special. We always watched the cartoons for all the holidays. The Peanuts and, you know, Charlie Brown Christmas, Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, you know, Thanksgiving, Charlie Brown, you know, all the Christmas shows, all the Halloween shows. My mom tried to just make it special for us because my mom loved who she was, and more than herself, she loved me and my brother. She loved her boys, loves, at least she still tells us that. But she loves her boys. And that makes it that much easier to love someone else if you really, truly love yourself. And I don't want to ramble on too much about that, but I think you get the point. And just be good to yourself. You know, hold your head up high. No matter what gets in your way, if what your goal is on the other side, plow through. Can't plow through, go over. Can't go over, go around. Find a way. If you want something bad enough, you'll find a way. And I have faith. I have faith in you that you can do it. I really do. I really do. Once again, I thank you all for being a part of my YouTube channel and my YouTube journey. Gotten quite a few subscriptions and views. I really greatly appreciate all that. If you would like, subscribe and hit that little dingly thing down there. What is it? The bell. Hit the bell down there. And, you know, you'll get notifications every time I decide to post my gooberness and ridiculousness on the interweb. That being said, I love you all. Y'all be safe, stay warm, and we'll see you next time.